continue our second part of the battle report. We did a couple of moves and I will give you an update of what's happening. The melee here, the English won. They killed the captain, the general, the commander, the sub-commander, and things are not looking good for the French left flank. As per the rules, in order for a division to get demoralized, it has to lose half of its elements. Currently, the French division has these 4 elements of warband, and it had another 4 elements of mounted knights. Now, 3 elements of mounted knights have been lost, but because one is a general, it counts as 2. That means that this division is demoralized. And what this means that they cannot move, they cannot do anything. They have to turn and run away unless the personal initiative points allocated by the general can hold them in position. But currently they're not all fighting in hand-to-hand combat. So we're going to check the next personal initiative point for the French and see if the general will allocate them. But currently they're a non-entity because they're not really threatening anyone. So there is a big problem for the French left flank. Now here in the center, let's go here. The French attacked. We're going to have to fight this hand-to-hand combat, and the French foot knights from the center division are trying to cover this gap that the demoralized division has created. Here in the center, there is still hard fighting. The English are fighting, but the crossbowmen with the support of the men-at-arms, the French men-at-arms, are fighting back. There is a lot of back and forth, changing the balance of power, but still the center division is, the battle is ongoing. Here on the left flank of the English, we'll have hand-to-hand combat. The English will have also shooting. The left division of the English, the right division of the French, it's still quite strong, so nothing has changed here. So the English, having probably get rid of the French left flank, will be able to change the strategy a bit and maybe envelop. Although the warbands, if they are allocated pips and they hold them in this position, they close. Well, the English will need a different, more difficult route in order to outflank the French. As you can see here, there will be an obstruction. So let's go on and fight the battle and see what's going to happen. Then we're going to go to the French bound. So we continue and seeing what the action has happened currently. The French here are piling the pressure. The left flank is doing well. The right flank of the French is doing well. They've got quite a lot of personal initiative points and they're starting moving their troops. They are pressuring now from the left side. This is a dangerous side, I think, for the English. They will be in trouble. Also, they moved up front a little bit with the commander, their men-at-arms. The center is didn't do any specific action, but they're trying to pile again the pressure to the English left flank by moving the element of foot knights. So the left flank is in a difficult situation. Here on the center again, on the English right flank, again the center is piling the pressure. They're trying to create problems to the English, while although personal initiative points, one personal initiative point was rolled for their left division of the French. The French commander held this warband. It doesn't do anything, but it creates problems to the English. It closes the easy access to attack the French from the flank. So this is very important to get personal initiative points and hold them as a group, but obviously they didn't have any more initiative points and the knights are breaking and are falling back. So here we have a critical melee to fight, very important in the left flank and here on the right and in the center. Actually, this could be a very, very critical part of the battlefield. Let's see what will happen and I will get back to you. Let's fight this melee. Okay guys, let's go. Things are not looking that good for the English from the left flank. The English longbows were pushed back, interpenetrating the men-at-arms who now are in the front ranks fighting. The same here, they were pushed back by the spearmen and men-at-arms took over. Their whole they're still holding, but we don't know what's going to happen. But at least this combination of man-at-arms and longbowman is still holding the left flank. Quite a lot of longbowmen were killed. Here in the center, the French had an advantage, destroyed the one unit of English man-at-arms, and now they're fighting with a reserve unit, the unit that was behind it. And the crossbowman did a very good shooting and pushed back again the English. The English here pushed back and the crossbowman, and they recoiled behind their man-at-arms. So quite a strong battle here. Here on this flank, things are looking very bad for the English. The man-at-arms, the longbowmen were destroyed, and now they're fighting, the French knights are fighting with English men-at-arms. And here the same, the longbowman recoiled basically. So things are not looking very good. The English managed to shoot here and push back their already disheartened warbands. That this is advantage in what way? In a way that they're not connected anymore, so you need 2 personal initiative points to hold them there instead of 1, while the mounted knights are still fleeing. So things are not looking very good for the English here. I mean, they can very easily change everything if they take advantage of this now not required elements, and these that are not at all challenged by the wombats who cannot move, and try and attack this French center on the flanks. Otherwise, I don't know how long the English, although now we have the English men-at-arms fighting the French heavy units, so they can be more robust. But I don't know here how much the English longbowman will hold this onslaught from French knights. And then if there is a break in this left division, there will be a problem. The French knights can create havoc. So let's see how it will go. So let's continue, guys. This is English bound. We did some movement. We basically have hand-to-hand combat, and we'll do some shooting. It's the only shooting available currently. We're going to fight this melee in the center. And here the English, what they're doing, hopefully this side will hold, and the commander is trying to overlap now. The English longbowmen attacked on the flanks, the French, and the commander is trying to overlap to move, avoid this probably now, but probably going to flee warbands and attack the center of the French. So this is the current situation. Let's see some shooting. Now we shoot again. We said, let's go a little bit back. We roll for both 6 and 1, and nothing's going to happen because it's not enough for the English, even the modifiers, to reach the 6. So no more shooting, and let's go to hand-to-hand combat. It's the English turn, so the English will focus here because they have the overlap. So let's see another hand-to-hand combat and how it works. We have blades against blades, and let's go and see. And the English roll a 5 and the French roll a 4. Now the French here are overlapped, so they will get a -1. Both get a +5 modifier for men-at-arms who fight against foot, unless they're shot at, and they get a +5. Now the French are overlapped, as I showed you here, by this unit, so they will get a -1, and they will go 4. So it's 8 and 10, I think that was before, wasn't it? So let's check if the rest supports. If you see flank array, solid bow in mutual edge-to-edge contact with solid blades. So solid bow. Spears in mutual edge-to-edge contact with spears and solid blades. So it doesn't say blades with bows. Say solid bow in mutual solid bow. So basically solid bow is getting support. So we have 8 and 10. The English won, and they will push back the French. Let's do this hand-to-hand combat also. It's with men-at-arms, the English men-at-arms, and spearmen. Again, this unit that is not engaged overlaps and can support their comrades here. So let's roll and see. So we have 6 and 5. The spears against spears solid against any foot get a +4, and the English get a +5. A +5 for the English, a +4 for the French. Now, the spearmen are overlapped by 2, by these longbows here, and by this man-at-arms here. So they will get a -2. So they will go to 2. So it's 10, 11 against 7. It's not doubled, but the spears lost. So if we go and we see here, it says spears, pikes, blades, they're destroyed. if they lose, they're not doubled by knights and warbands, etc., or otherwise recoil. So the English here managed to hold the French onslaught and just and recoil, push them back, giving them time. Of course, there's a lot of more elements coming, and this side should hold, but this is a good turn for the English, good start for the English to push back the French. Now we have to go and see what's going to happen in the center here, and then we're going to go here in the flanks, where it's more critical. The English must hold here, because otherwise there could be trouble. So guys, let's recap and see where are we in the battlefield, specifically regarding demoralization of commands. Because it's very important here. So when you lose 1/3 of your element for each command, for each battle, your command becomes demoralized. And if you lose half of your elements, your army is destroyed. So currently, the English have lost 2. Currently, every battle for the English is 8 elements. So the English lost 2. That means that if I round it up, 1/3 is 3. So the center command is in trouble. If they lose one or more element, they will be demoralized. Demoralized units continue fighting if they're in hand-to-hand combat, but with -2 tactical factor. But units or elements that are not in hand-to-hand combat, if you don't use personal initiative points to control them and hold them in position, they flee. And this is what happened, we said, to the French here. The French are still holding the warbands with personal initiative points, but the mounted knights here are fleeing. They didn't have enough points. Now this is very critical for the English. The same is here. The English lost 2, these small red dice. They're 8. So if they lose another element, they will be demoralized. They will keep fighting, but with a -2, it will be difficult. The French have 10 elements in every command. They lost 2 here. That means in order for them to get demoralized, they need to go to basically 3 rounded up, so it's basically 4. The same here. They lost basically, I don't know how many elements, I put it to 2 again, and they need 4. So there is a slight, or actually a lot of advantage for the French in order at this moment. The English could be in trouble if they lost elements. They would keep fighting, but again with a -2, it could be difficult. What the English have to do, this flank attack that is materializing, if they manage to push back the French knights, they could have a chance at flanking the French, but again, it's going to take some time. Things are not looking very good for the English. What I like about these rules is that it makes sense. In the 100 Years' Wars, armies were dissolving because the French, when they were losing battles, had more army on the field, but from the English, but it was a matter of morale and a matter of seeing the troops getting destroyed and losing heart. So things are not looking very good for the English. They need to hold here. We have melee, so here this round will be very critical. So we have melee, and it's the English bound, so we need to see from where they will start. Probably we'll start from here, and we'll see what will happen in the center and in the flanks. If the English lose another element, they will be demoralized and they will fight with -2, meaning they will have major disadvantage against the French. So let's do a little bit of hand-to-hand combat. So the English decided to start from here, the flanks. They're the same quality of elements fighting. It's blades, they are basically the knights, but the English are commander. This is a command stand. So let's roll and see the modifiers. Let's roll and see the die rolls. They said blue for the French, red for the English. So we have 5 and 3. Now both are blades, so they get 5 + 5 against foot, unless they're shot at, where they get a +4. And because they are commanders, there's a command stand, it gets a +1. So the English won this battle, that they haven't destroyed the French. That means the French will be pushed back, but still the French are holding on. So let's do this pushback, and then, well actually, let's go and do this one. This pushback doesn't affect these guys. Well, it could affect them if they're behind them and the French are pushed back. So better I do the move and go to the next one. So the French fell back a base depth. They're not really influencing this fight. So let's go here, where the English will start probably from this position where the men-at-arms are equal. So the English are men-at-arms, the French are men-at-arms, no command stands. and it's 6 and 6. No support. But longbowman gets support from men-at-arms, but not men-at-arms from longbowman. So it's a draw, nothing happens, and we continue this melee. And this is very critical melee. So let's see the longbowman against the French men-at-arms. 4 and 3. Now the longbowman get a measly 2 in hand-to-hand combat, and the men-at-arms get a 5 unless shot at. Now, as per the rules, the English can give support even if they're fighting, and the longbowman will get a +1. That would mean that the longbowman will go to 5 + 1, 6 against 9. So they lost from the blades. So if we see what is the result for longbowman bows, they recoil. They destroyed by mounted, but they recoil from any other. So the English here will recoil, will be pushed back, and that would be an issue because now this French will overlap this English. So we finished the melee on the left flank of the English, on the left flank of the French, the right flank on the English. The English pushed back here, and the battle here was a draw, but here the English longbowmen were pushed back by the French, understandably. There is a great possibility of a flank attack here in the next move, but the next bound is for the French, so we'll see how this will develop. Now we go here, and this is a critical melee because if the English lose, they could be in trouble. Now, there is a fighting between men-at-arms and men-at-arms. It's advantageous for the English because this is a command stand that will get a +1, and also these guys are overlapped by the English men-at-arms here. So the English will get +2 from the command stand and from the actually -1 is the overlap, the roll of the French. So let's see how this will end. And this is very critical. So we roll, I will roll a 6 and a 5. As we said, the French get a +5. Let's go a bit further up. The French get a +5 and the English get a +5. And the English have a commander, so they get another +1. And the English have the overlap, so the French will get a -1 for this overlap, so it is a 4. So it's 9 against 12. It's not doubled, but the English will push back the French. Now, do the English want to follow up? That's a good question. Will they follow up? If they follow up, they have to follow up because this French, if they're pushed back and aligned with a crossbowman, they will create a -1 overlap to the English fighting here. So it's better for them to continue fighting so they can negate this overlap. So I will continue fighting and we'll come back to you. I also have here melee, critical melee. Again, we said the English lose 1 element, they are getting demoralized. So I will do all the fighting and come back to you with the developments. So let's see what happened here. The English managed to destroy that element of long crossbowman and push towards the French men-at-arms, reducing the number, adding another element destroyed, so we go to 3. So even if 1 element is lost, the French division will be demoralized. So we're talking about a race now. Whoever manages to break an element, destroy an element, will get demoralized, and then obviously the advantage will go totally to the other side with a -2. Here the English held on, although the men-at-arms were pushed back by the spearmen supported by the foot knights. They held their line, and here the English managed to push back the French spears, but they decided to hold and keep the line. So this is a very critical situation, especially in the center, obviously in the flanks, but in the center there is a possibility for the English to demoralize the French. Fighting with -1, this will probably mean that this division will be destroyed, and then the center division will be able to outflank its opponents. Similar, of course, for the French if they kill 1 English element. So now we're going to roll for personal initiative points and do the movement. First of all, we roll for the commander in the center division, who rolls a 4, and he will move his elements. Probably is going to charge the longbowman here if he has enough movement. There's nothing else he can do. And then the second role is for the left command, of the right command of the French. Probably the French commander needs to bring up his remaining men-at-arms to support and create major problems to the English. And there is no die rolling. There's die rolling for the French left command, only to hold if they manage to hold these warbands, they cannot do anything, but you never know with the pushbacks, maybe they will take part of this battle. And anyway, they are, regardless, closing this access to the English to our flank. So there are still some, they're doing some work for the French. So I will do the movement and I'll come back to you. So let's go click and see what's happening here. The commander rolled 2 personal initiative points, managing to hold these 2 groups of warband who are demoralized, but they still are held in the battlefield. They did nothing else. The center command basically moved this element to attack the longbowman. The English were very lucky because the distance was not enough for them to charge. So the English will shoot, and probably in the next bound they will fall back, because this is an extremely dangerous situation. If they lose another element, they will go to 3 and they will be demoralized. The French here moved, the left flank moved coherently, their 2nd division, so they will try and support the ones fighting, and they charged with all the spears against the English men at arms. So very interesting melee here. The French are building up the pressure on the English left flank, while in the center things are touch and go. Whoever destroys one element, the opponent gets demoralized, and then the advantage is with the winner. Here on the left flank, still things are going, still is melee, but this command hasn't lost, the English left command, although scattered left and right, hasn't lost any elements, so it needs to lose 2 elements, 3 elements to get demoralized. So still the English are holding their left flank, and of course, obviously, as you can see here, they have these 2 elements who, during the movement phase, they will be able to create problems to the French. Now we have the only one shooting, and this is for the English bows against the men-at-arms of the French. Let's roll it so you can see it. So the English roll, they roll a 5, and the French roll a 2. Now the English against foot shooting, their bows solid, they get only a +2, but the French get a +4. They are men-at-arms, and when they're shot at, they get a +4. So we have 7 against 6. So it's victory for the English. That means the French will recoil, will be pushed back from shooting. So that's another, very good thing for the English, because this charge has been, postponed or delayed. So that's a good. Now, as I said, we're going to go to melee here. It's the French bound. The French will make a decision where they will attack. Probably they will do it here because they're building the pressure. They are still strong. And here they have as you see here, they've lost 2 elements. They have the luxury of another 2. And then maybe they will go here in the center where this is a critical melee. As I said, 3 and 2. Whoever loses 1 element is out. So I'll do the melee and come back to you. Probably will show you this melee because it's critical. So guys, let me update you what's happening currently. Here, the French won all melees. They pushed back the English. They didn't remove any elements, but they have the impetus, they have the advantage. It seems that they're doing well. They're moving their 2nd rank to come up and support, but currently all melees were won by the French. Here on the English right flank, there was a draw. The French pushed back the English longbowmen. The English longbowmen are holding well. It was unexpected. Now the flanks are coming, so in the English bound, they will be able to support them and attack the French. And here, the English continue having the advantage, being the command stand and pushing back the French without doing anything, basically, not removing an element. But now we go to the center. This is the critical melee. So we have to roll. It's the French bound, and the French decide to start from the center. Why they want to start from the center? Because the English element here is outflanked. It's from both sides outflanked, so they're going to get a -2. So let's see how this will start. And obviously the fighting command stand, so another +1. So there is an advantage of the French here. If they remove the English, that means that in the English bound, not in this melee, this division will be demoralized. So let's roll and see what's happening. It's critical. So we have a very bad roll for the English 2 and bad roll for the French 2. Now the English get a 5 and the French get a 5 +1 for the commander, a 6. Now we said that the English are basically outflanked, so they get a -2. So from 5 they will go to 3. So we have 3 + 2, 5, 6 + 2, 8, not doubled. Lucky for the English, they were just pushed back. So they were pushed back. So this is 2, not 4. They will be pushed back by the French, and I have to do this move because the balance changes now and the supports change. So the English here are pushed back and the French will follow. Now we go to the other melee. The French will probably go here. They are not outflanking the English currently, but this is a command stand, so this is a more well, fair fight, let's say. So it's basically a straight roll because both of them have a +5. And so it's basically a straight roll. So let's go and see. We'll roll for both. And let's see. We have a 5 and a 2. And that's very bad for the English, who get a 5 for the French. Another 5 for the English. There's nothing else. There's nothing outflanking anybody. So it's a 10 against a 7. The English are not doubled, but the English will be pushed back. Now here, the French will fight. There is the +1 for the English. There's nothing outflanking or any overlap, as I said, or rare support. So let's see this roll, critical roll. So it's 3 and 1. The French get a 5, the English get a 6 because they get a +1 of the commander. So 6, 1, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8. All victories for the French. No element removed, but French victories. The English are pushed back. But no element removed. Now we have the English bound. They will roll for movement and for some actions. The most important action would probably be here, where they have to outflank the French. They can outflank the French, and the rest will be probably a little bit of shooting. I forgot to push back this men-at-arms. They will be pushed back, say 1 base width. And then again the melee, and we'll see what's happening. So what's happening currently, guys, in the English move? The English are aligning. They're trying to extend their flanks to give support to their comrades who are fighting and overlap the French. The same here. The battle is ongoing, but the English are trying to align. This flank charge of the English looks to have potential, but in the current battle situation, the current hand-to-hand combat, the English are trying to extend their flanks so they can get positive modifiers against the French, or actually give negative modifiers to the French. Here the same, they extended their flank. There were 2 bases here. I was trying to support not to break and lose the coherency of my line if the front unit broke, but now that we're dividing into pockets of melee, extending the flanks of the English and trying to outflank the French and give minus modifiers to the French, it's a good strategy. So now we have hand-to-hand combat. The English will start probably from here, where they haven't lost an element, so they have the luxury of losing, and maybe if they manage to break a French unit, there's a large attack coming from here. Let's see what's going to happen. So we'll start from here and continue to the center, where it's touch and go. I will show you the center, and finally the English will go in this hand-to-hand combat, where they're still holding on, but again they have 2 elements lost. If they lose 1 more, they become demoralized. So things are developing very interestingly here. The English broke the French spearmen and attacked the element behind the French men-at-arms. So the right division of the French has 3 elements removed. That means 1 more and they will be demoralized. The remaining hand-to-hand combat, the English pushed back. This was a draw, so it's balanced. Here, the English held. They were pushed back. The longmen were pushed back, but the French are not following because they're supporting this hand-to-hand combat. Currently, there's a little bit of mess here. This melee is still ongoing without a victor. So still we have to see how this left flank will influence the right flank. And here we have the center, where it's very critical for both. And we're going to start with the English deciding where to attack. And they will attack here because they have the +1 of the commander and they have the overlap here. So they will attack here, and let's see. So let's roll. And we roll 1 and 5. Very bad. The French have a 5 and the English have a 5. The English get a +1 for the commander. The French get a -1 for being overlapped. So it's 9, 6, 7, 8. Very narrow victory for the English. They are pushed back from the French, so that means they will be pushed back one base depth or half base width if it's less. I will change the element size. I will do it 6. It looks much better. It looks a bit flimsy here. The French will follow. They want to find they have to follow. The knights men at L blades don't necessarily have to follow. They have the option, if I don't recall well. So the blades will stay here to support the next hand-to-hand combat. That's critical for the English because they're fighting the command stand and they are overlapped from both sides now currently. So they will get a -2. So that's very bad for the English. Let's see. So the English have a 5 and a 4. So the English will get a 6. But as I told you, they get a -2 from the 2 overlaps. So they will go at 4. The French get 5 +1 for the commander. That's the command stand. So they have 9, 10, and 9. The English lost and will be pushed back. And the meaning they're pushed back, and the French will follow. Let's do this. Now this is how the situation is. The English are pushed back, and now we have this melee. This melee has the overlap of the English that will give them -1, but they're not flanked from the French, so the English have an advantage here. So we roll, and we roll a 6 and a 5. Both will get a 5 because they are men-at-arms fighting foot, but the French will get a -1 because they are outflanked, and we'll have 10 and a 10. We have a draw. So nothing happens at all. So here the center still, the fighting is fierce. Let's go back and see. So we have 3 pockets of fighting. We have fighting here where the English are trying to outflank. The English will get an advantage in the next movement because now they're overlapping the French. The French will be attacked flank. So in the next English bound, they will be able to take some type of advantage here. In the center, in the left flank, the English are still holding on. They got some type of advantage here. They're pushed here because they have the longbowman, but still the French are going to bring up this command of men-at-arms that hasn't been engaged yet. So we'll see how this will work. The English men-at-arms were pushed back. The French men-at-arms were pushed even further from the longbow fire, but they can now. They can engage here now and then create problems. So let's see how this happens, what happens here. And here the battle, as you saw, it's very balanced. No element has been removed. So the one army can take the advantage of the other. So things are looking quite interesting. I hope you're enjoying the battle. Now it's the French bound that they will roll for the left command, and that's 4 personal initiative points. And so they can move once in its difficult ground, this command. That's why it's going slower. But probably they will extend the French as well. They can extend here in the back, their second row, and this will be very dangerous for the English who are fighting here. What else the French can do? Probably they can attack. No, this is the center. No, this is the center. The center will probably attack here and take advantage of this outflanking, and the English will be in trouble here because of the French. And here, the French, the only thing they can do is keep fighting and probably attacking the English longbowmen before. There's nothing else they can do. But here, things are looking bad for the English. And why I'm saying that, because this element of men-at-arms is exactly on the side, but no, it's a little bit in the front. It's not totally flanked, so I don't know if it can outflank. We'll check this later in the rules. Let's see. This is quite interesting. Let's have a see if these guys can outflank. And this is a very helpful part of this book where we have all the diagrams. So you see here, so if you are behind and we are on the side, so in order to flank, you have to be totally on the flank. So you can attack flank and front here. So here only rear, here only flank, and here only front if you're a little bit in the front. So yeah. So I think these guys are this. No, they're not this. I think they're a little bit inside. let's see here. Yeah, I think with this they can attack in the flank. They can attack in the flank and create problems to the English. Yeah. Okay, let's go on. I'll come back to you. I'll do a couple of rounds and get back to you. So things are not looking very good for the English. The French moved. They turned their second division over the right flank, and they're trying to take advantage of this gap here. They're moving uncontested, basically. The other French element charged the English in the flanks. Now that means that the English, if they lose and they recoil, they don't have any option but to get, they will be destroyed. They cannot recoil because they're attacking the flanks. And that would be a major disaster for the English. So things are not looking good for the English here. The English will shoot. The French didn't do any movement, but the English will shoot because they want to support their men-at-arms here and they're risking it. So the English will shoot against the French with two elements. This is the main element and this will be the supporting element, so they will give a -1. So let's see how this will work and let's go and see. So 6 and 1, this is very good for the English. They get a +2 and these guys get a +5, +4 against shooting. They will get a -1, so they will go at +3. Because they are shot by a second element. So it's 8 and 4, they're doubled and they are destroyed. This is an unexpected but very good result for the English. That means that the main army is losing another element, and that means from the shooting here that the center is demoralized. Now, this is actually quite an achievement for the English. I don't remember this. How many there were? There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There were 10. They lost 3. Yeah, there were 10. They lost 3, and now there are 4. So yes, they're demoralized. The French are demoralized. So this unexpected shooting, very bad. Actually, it was my mistake because I should have charged, but then I saw the supporting fire and I decided to show you how it works. It's a bit of a, it's not very good. So the French demoralized because they lose 4 elements out of their 12, and that means 1/3, and that would be that they will get demoralized. That means that they fight, they keep fighting, but with a -2 modifier everywhere in the center. Oh, that's very bad for the French, and that's a great advantage for the English, although we still have this flank attack. Let's see how it will develop. So let's recap. The English shot, they removed the 4th French unit from the center. That means the French will get demoralized. That means that the units who are fighting, but units who are not fighting need to the general needs to hold them by using personal initiative points and hold them into the battlefield unless they are running like those men-at-arms. Here the English, I think they're opening the gap to attack the French center. 1 melee only is ongoing, but here the French are trying to take advantage of this gap also as a strong contingent of 3 men-at-arms. But here the battle is balanced, but here the French are moving towards this gap. So quite interesting, but we'll see how this battle develops now. With this center division of French being demoralized, the French obviously it's their own bound. So what they will probably do is they will start here, hoping they can remove 2 elements from the English and demoralize them and balance the battles. Very, very interesting battle, guys. I really enjoyed it. I hope you're enjoying it too. Okay, guys, the battle is finished. Let's do a recap because it finished suddenly, and my opinion on the game, the first game after quite some time. So let's go a bit further back and see. So what happened here is that the English demoralized, as I told you previously, the French command, and obviously they got the upper hand. They start removing elements from the French. Although the French held in the center, they removed 1 more element and they were taking the upper hand. Here in the flank, the English and French were in a balanced, let's say, the balance of power. The English didn't do much. They pushed the French back, but still it was a bit of a scattered melee from different elements. The critical was the shooting of the English here that demoralized the center. Let's go a bit further here and see what's happening. The English was there bound, decided to start the melee from where they had an advantage, removing the center element of pushing back the spearmen of the French. That meant they didn't follow up, and that meant that they were providing flank support to their comrades. That was a very strong fought battle, and the French men-at-arms lost and were killed. By the English, the element removed, and immediately with 4 elements removed from the left flank, from the right flank of the French, the division became demoralized again. And as per the rules, if you have 2 demoralized divisions, it means that you lost the battle. So what I think of the rules now, I played them again. I think they're excellent. I think they're amazing. I think they portray perfectly the 100 Years' War in the medieval era. Don't worry about the movement. It's very simple. Don't have to go when you see this, follow when you see these games that they're counting with the measure tape. Don't get intimidated. An element can move as it wants, any movement it wants, just if it's, as long as it is within its movement rate. Groups move exactly as groups move in most of the rule sets, you know, wheeling and moving with the speed of the slowest element. And melee is amazing. It's really very important how you will deploy your armies. It's very important the support you're going to have. I would incorporate the rare support a bit more from DBMM, the +1 for longbowmen and spearmen supporting, and men-at-arms supporting longbowmen. But I think it's an excellent game. Where I would be, my criticism would be, obviously the French lost a lot of elements from the mounted charges. Now, obviously it's portrayed perfectly. The English were in difficult ground, the French attacked, the English shot them and really annihilated them, and all the mounted were lost. So fighting, attacking English longbowmen in ahead, well, straight ahead, it's a mistake, something that was actually happened. Where I feel the longbowmen are weaker, and again, it portrays well, it's, I would say, the shooting of the foot, the heavy foot, and obviously it was less successful. But if you keep your strategy and you shoot with multiple elements against your opponents, giving them minuses, minus modifiers, this will help you and will be helpful. Obviously, the main units will be pushed back, and that was actually what the longbowmen did, especially against foot troops. So this will delay them, this will create issues of disorder, pushing elements in the middle of the big group, and then you're dividing the group into half, and then the group needs more orders, more pips in order to move. So perfect strategy, a really good game. What I would have done differently would have been that I would consider an element so it can be more robust and more, I don't know, interesting. I would consider an element of 6 like this. It would be more nice, and I think it would be closer to the rules. So I would consider that one element in my next game will be this, and I think it will look much, much better, and visually and actually rule-wise, because it will have a base depth and base width where you can give you an option. Anyway, guys, this is from me. I hope you enjoyed the battle. The end was really good, was really fun, was really close, because again, medieval battles, 100 Years' War battles don't end with annihilation of one opponent. We know that in the major pitched battles, when the French retreated, they had more soldiers in the field, and that is something this game portrays perfectly. Let me know if you want another battle report. It will be a bit more nice, a bit more detailed. Now I got the rules better. I will explain to you the number of elements for each division. I think I can put a couple of more, maybe a river, then a couple of targets and let's say missions for each army. So let me know if you want to see one more, and I will try to make it better. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and bye-bye.